Hi, everybody. It's Greg and Robert back with your Docs Daily. I almost said Wednesday, Thursday edition. Thursday, the 30th of October. Maybe tomorrow we'll be in costume. You don't know. It's Halloween tomorrow. I'm going to dress up as a winning handicapper hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully, I do that every day. But we're going to have a bunch of free stuff for you. If you haven't done so, make sure you get in on our free $60 account. That's a way to test us out. And it doesn't cost anything for you. And it comes with the same guarantee that if you spend your hard-earned cash. So go to docsports.com/free60. All new customers get a $60 account to test us out. Also, if you haven't done so, make sure you get in the best value on YouTube. You go to the YouTube Premium here at our Doc Sports channel. We have 3 different levels. Level 1's Lenny. Level 2's Indian Cowboy. Level 3, you get a sample from a bunch of different cappers. And anywhere from $4.99 up to $49.99. And that's just per month. So make sure you check that out. Link is in the description. Okay, Robert, first of all, how you been doing? And do you have anything big today?
I have a 7-unit daily prop play that was kind of a late ad. I didn't love a lot of the prop numbers in this Miami-Baltimore game. Then there was one that just was nagging at me all week and kept going up. So I have a 7-unit prop play. Picked up like plus 4,800 on my last 28 props. So we'll see if we can keep that going. There's a lot that I like a little in the NHL today. So I have
big card today too, right?
6 plays on the card.
Is it 10 games today? 11? I mean,
yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in action. Not as big as Tuesday, but bigger than yesterday.
Yeah. What was Tuesday again? Was that like it
Frozen was Fury or something like that? I don't even know.
You know what that means? The marketing didn't work, because if I don't know someone that follows sports religiously, I mean, I heard it a few times from the handicappers here, but I never ever once heard it on like TV ads or whatever. So
I swear it was Frozen Fury.
I mean, I heard something like that, but I was like,
no, that was the annual preseason game, of course.
I thought that I think it was Nick that talked about it the other day. I thought maybe he was making he was just calling it that because I had so many games. And then I heard it on ESPN when I was watching, and I was like, man, talking about missing on the marketing. If I don't know what it is,
yeah,
you probably what's the college basketball one?
Yeah, they used to do they used to have 2. They used to have the Bracket Buster Saturday where they had all the mid-majors crossover, but they had the 24-hour hoops marathon that they used to do. I loved that.
Oh, I was awesome. Like wake up and they were doing
only guy up at 7 a.m. Yeah. Watching the NEC.
They called it something different last year, and I think someone said it again. I was watching something on Barstool, and they were talking about that it's like the first weekend, I believe, of
one of the opening days of college basketball. They're having it. It's not. I don't think it's 24 hours, but it's like an all-day hoops extravaganza. So
yeah. I mean, my favorite time of the year is when it's not as big as it used to be, because now people want to go to Maui because you get paid to go to the Vegas tournament, some NIL money. So it's like coaches know what players want. They want the money now. So it's like you're not going to have, unless Maui figures it out and starts to, find sponsors that are willing to pay the NIL money. I think teams, but I used to love that weekend. Whereas you start these hoops tournaments and, on the East Coast at like noon, and then you finish it up in Maui at like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
I mean, Thanksgiving weekend, there's still a good amount of tournaments that are going to be going on. Paradise Jam, some of the stuff down in the Bahamas. Like, no, that's
the one I want to go to.
Feast Week
that would be fun. We should make that, Robert. Me and you should make that happen.
Agreed.
See if we can get press passes where we're like doing it from the sideline. That would be amazing. That would, and I heard that it's not the greatest venue to watch games.
Maybe it's all dark. That's why that's out in the stands.
It's like they make it work, but it's like not the greatest venue for spectators. But we're in the Bahamas watching basketball. Yeah. We couldn't complain though. So we'll have that starting Monday. College basketball starts Monday. So for people that have not been paying attention, don't worry. Robert's the king of college basketball, and he'll have everything you need to know. Maybe we'll talk to Lenny, the powers that be, that we have you on Docs Daily on Monday, because people are going to this is, madness. We call March Madness. They should be calling it November Madness, because with the number of transfers, the NIL, all that stuff, coaches changes, Bruce Pearl's out of Auburn. I mean, you just go down the list.
It's insane. I looked at just this morning, I was breaking down some stuff for Conference USA basketball. There are 12 teams in that league. There are only 11 returning starters. It's unbelievable.
That's madness.
I think the Big Sky, there's 10 teams and 14 returning starters, something like that. It is unbelievable how many teams. I believe it was over 50 teams have fewer than 3% of their minutes back from last year. It's nuts. It's good. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be one of the most challenging non-conference seasons. Normally, this is the time that we print money, and that's one of the angles that you play, right? Like those mid-major teams that brought back 4 guys, 6 of their top 7 scorers. They're out in front a little bit in the non-conference. That's not going to be the case. Like this is going to be a very different, very unique, very challenging non-conference schedule.
Add in big name coaching, like tons of coaching changes every year. But I think the OG coaches, as I call them, are going to they're getting more and more frustrated with the system. Mm-hmm. And, I heard something from Sampson the other day, said, listen, it's transactional now. Him and Calipari are like, preaching the you get one transfer without sitting out after that. You got to, he's like, listen, if it's not, you're not going to find me here because, I'm just, I'm an AAU coach.
I 100% agree. That's 100% what I said it should be. A lot of people are saying it. You get one free transfer. After that, you have to sit out at least half a season. And I do still think that there should be a penalty, some kind of penalty for transferring within the conference. Guys that want to move up from the Ohio Valley to SEC, that's fine. But again, I did a lot of college basketball this morning. It's like SIU, Edwardsville. There's one school that they took like 4 of the best players in the conference. Like 4 in-conference transfers, all these starters on these other teams that came within the conference. Like that shouldn't be okay. So I love NIL. I love free transfer, but the multiple free transfer is way over the top.
Well, now the coach is moving up. The Dusty Mays of the world, where they basically take, they bring a lot of their players with them. So now it's a big selling point, both college football and college basketball, because now you can get better a lot quicker if I bring 3 really good players, especially in college basketball.
Like Will Wade is doing that in NC State. He brought Kadir Copeland. He brought, I forget the other kid's name, who actually hurt his knee early on from McNeese State. That was a really good McNeese State team. Right. So he's bringing guys to NC State. So that should slow the learning curve. But like I said, you got all these guys that are like the 3rd leading scorer on the 7th place team in the Ohio Valley, getting convinced that they can move up to the Big Ten now. And it's just not going to work that way. Like some of these guys are doing themselves a disservice instead of staying together with like a good core mid-major team for a couple of years, go to the tournament, knock somebody off. Yep. Then you make that big transfer for a year or 2. But now it's nuts. Like it's tough in football, but football, it's watered down, right? Like you can lose a bunch of guys and bring in some guys, but it's all shuffled around. With basketball, you only have 5 guys on the court at one time. You're only playing 8 guys. So if you lose 7 of your top 8, it's an entirely new team and just an entirely new challenge to try and handicap.
Yeah, I thought you got like Cincinnati. I thought Cincinnati was looking to be really good this year. They got a lot of returning players. And then whatever happened with Jizzle James, no one really knows. Right. Like it was a personal issue. I'm guessing maybe, alcohol, drugs, something, gambling. I don't know. They obviously, when they don't say, that tells you it's probably
you assume the worst. Yeah, right.
But either way, I mean, like that was going to be a team that was going to look to, kind of make a big jump this year, and a coach that is on the hot seat. If he doesn't win this year, probably moving on Cincinnati. So it will be a fascinating year. Well, like I said, I'll talk to Lenny. We'll try to have Robert on Monday if he has time. I know it's going to be super busy time of year for you. Super fun time of year. I will say this, though. Slow and steady. I preach that every year in the start of sports seasons, but more than ever, college basketball this year, because this is really the first year I felt like it's just complete chaos. Yeah. Like, pick a winner. I have no clue. I mean, I've looked down through it. I just don't know how these guys are going to – there's so many people that you got to put together. like Florida last year, I thought did a pretty good job of having transfers and returning players, and they meshed them together. That's just not as easy as people think. Like,
right. I mean, chemistry is everything. Like you could bring in a lot of talented pieces, but if guys don't get along, if their skill sets don't complement each other, that's why it is going to be very important to watch these games early on. But that's the problem. That's why people hire guys like you and I. We have the time to sift through that stuff and watch these teams and watch these players. Like if you're a regular guy with a regular job, you have no chance in college basketball right now, because
unless you're following your own team, like that's your only hope, is that you follow one or two teams and then you just like kind of dabble on those. If you're trying to do like the board, get out of town. Like, no way.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like I sit here this is where you and I are opposites. I am always a big believer in strike early on in the season. Do your homework in the off season. Go into with any given sport. Know who's overrated, who's underrated, who you like, who you don't, and bet it before the market gets there. And that's gold in college basketball. Like we talked about, though, the problem is that nothing is static. It's all chaos. Like everybody just took all the players, threw them up in the air, and just wherever they landed, they go. Another angle I used to play a lot was international travel, right? These teams that would go on these summer trips or these August trips. Louisville last year being the perfect example of that. Everybody talks about, Pat Kelsey came in and was amazing in year one. He had all these transfers, and he was, but he also got like almost a 3-week head start on the season with all these guys. So when November came, everybody knew their job, everybody knew their role. Teams aren't taking these international trips anymore because they're saving that money just to dump it into NIL. There's only like 14 teams, I think, that went on international travel this year, where that used to be a huge, and a bunch of them are like Southern University, Austin Peay, Cornell, Rice, Holy Cross, like teams that don't even, aren't even going to be rating early on. But that's another angle that I used to love to play that's no longer there. So,
I will say the old, I would say the 20-year-old, like that I've developed over 20 years, all the systems, not all of them have been scrapped the last 4 or 5 years in college sports, but a lot of them have, at least until later in the season. I just can't use what my go-to systems were, because there was just a different rule set. And now we're living in a different world, obviously. A lot of it will kind of transfer, but it's just not like, you have to put a lot more effort into it. There's a lot more, like you said, watching the games now than I've ever had to do before. I always did that. It was always part of like the confirming the pick that you liked, or the system you liked. But now it's like, it's almost more of that than it is the systems, because until maybe your week, 3, 4, you start getting to conference play and you see these teams and the systems start to develop a little bit. I will say this, tonight, people want to talk about Thursday night football, Robert. This is like talking about like, I don't know what we're going to get. Tonight is that night for the Thursday, because you got Lamar Jackson coming back. Is he going to be Lamar Jackson like we saw week 1, where he can just take off and run pretty much, outrun everybody? Or are they going to basically say, don't move because we don't want to get you hurt, because the season is literally, hanging in the balance. They have to win like the next 3 or 4 weeks for the rest of the season to matter. I don't know, because you kind of need his talent, or his, like, why he's so great is the unscripted plays that end up being these long touchdown plays. So sometimes they're scripted, the runs, but like more often than not, they're not. What do you think you get tonight in this game? And to be honest, the Dolphins last week was a big thing, but no Tyreek Hill. Their coach is dead man walking. What do you think tonight?
Listen, that's what I thought too. For me, there's less uncertainty about the Ravens than there is about what Miami team is going to show up, because I felt like I had a really good handle on this Miami team. They're awful, right? Like, had a big play against them with Cleveland a couple weeks ago. Wanted to make my NFL game of the year, but there's no way I'm using the Browns for a game of the year play. But Miami's defense all of a sudden had been giving up an average of like 6.4 yards per carry over like a month, 200 yards to Rico Dowdle, 150 yards here, 150 yards there. All of a sudden they shut down Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier last week. They win 34-10 in Atlanta. And they looked good. Like, there was nothing fluky about that. I went back.
It was never close. From the very gun.
Jordan Brooks flying around the field making plays. Like, their defense looked fantastic from jump. So What's
Was
it
it
going
the
to be?
Kirk Cousins? That was the one thing I was like, was it because this team
No.
doesn't like Kirk Cousins?
No.
Or was like what? It almost looked like the Falcons were uninterested, or was it the Dolphins just taking it from them?
It was, again, I went back and rewatched that game for that exact reason. I'm like, what did I miss? I didn't have on Sunday with a lot of games going on when that got down early. That was one of my bigger bets. I was like, screw that. I'm going to focus on Bears Ravens and some of the other stuff. So I went back and rewatched that game. Had nothing to do with Kirk Cousins. Miami just looked good. They played great. Their defense was winning at the point of attack, where they have been getting pushed around there. So what Miami team is going to show up? Their defense, which has been so awful all season long, they did kind of show up against the Bills in that Monday night game. They only allowed 31 points in that game, which, they held Josh Allen under 200.
For them, that's good.
For them is really, really good compared to what they're doing. So for me, it's a lot more about what Miami team is going to show up. It's a primetime game. They're at home. They're coming off a nice little win. Are they going to be kind of a feisty underdog here? Baltimore is still the better team, but I think you and I both look at this the same. It's either, is Baltimore going to come out and ramrod them, 42-17 or something stupid like that? Or is this going to be a competitive game where both teams score in the 20? The closer we get to it, the more I'm leaning towards the latter.
I stayed away from the side in the total. I thought you just play prop here. I like what we've seen from Derrick Henry the last few weeks. And I think with the threat of Lamar, even though he doesn't run or he won't run, I don't think as much, just that threat, it keeps the backside home where it's just one less guy you can have on the tackle. And I thought Derrick Henry kind of looked like Derrick Henry 2 weeks ago. Last week, I think he had it was 100 yards 2 weeks ago. Last week, he had 2 touchdowns.
He didn't really do anything.
He didn't do a ton on yardage. I just think this week, this Miami team, like you said, and other than last week, their run game defense was
awful.
Bad. And he's one of those guys, if it's bad, I mean, he'll run over you with one guy, and then that's a 50-yard run. That's all you need. I think it's like 89, 90, 91, something like that in that range. I think he gets triple digits tonight. I think this Ravens team, when he gets triple digits, they're almost impossible to beat, even though they did lose to the Bills, because it's just a mindset. It's like, dude, we got to stop this guy again. And then all of a sudden you bring up everybody.
Yeah.
And then they just throw over the top, wide open guys. I think that, and I think Baltimore, remember, has the Bengals twice and the Steelers twice still left on schedule, which is crazy. We're at the point of the year, and they've only played the Browns once in their division. They still have 5 division games. So if they go 5-0 in the division, they're going to make the playoffs. So they have a lot in front of them. I think that allowed them to not rush Lamar back. Because
that's why it's still weird to me that he didn't play on Sunday and he's playing on Thursday. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like did 4 days really make that much of a difference with the going?
And remember, they got in trouble, right? Because he was running the scout team.
He was a full participant on Friday. I thought he was playing. That's why it was my second biggest play of the week. I knew it was a terrible spot for Chicago because the Bears have been skating on thin ice. They're not as good as their record. It was a must win for Baltimore coming out of the bye. Everything's setting up.
And the line said so. The line.
Yeah. To be honest with you, that's part of the reason why I bet it on Thursday. I was like, if it comes out 100% that he's playing, I thought the line would move to 9.5.
Yeah.
I went golfing Sunday morning, and I'm talking to a buddy of mine that I'm golfing with. I'm like, the Bears are going to get killed today. Then 4 holes later, I checked my phone. It's Lamar Jackson's out. He's like, yeah, you didn't know that? Yeah, I guess not. So,
well, I mean, I think this is a show me game for Baltimore, and Lamar on primetime, even though he hasn't been good in playoffs, primetime games he's been pretty freaking good. His numbers have been out of this world, so I do think he'll have a big game. I just hope I'm just this in the NFL. I just don't want all these injuries. I mean, I just hate that we see, the Burrows and the Lamars and the great players that we love to see not there. A lot of times because I like to bet against them. It's if they're not there, now I really can't bet against Baltimore because all of a sudden now it's like a pick'em game. So I like when the best players are there, and we have seen too many injuries the last few years. So hopefully Lamar gets back tonight. The Ravens get healthy. I'm sorry if you're a Dolphins fan, by the way, because maybe it's you getting, another I still don't understand how McDaniel hasn't been fired. They have a bye next week, right? They have a bye next week, so I think this might
I haven't looked ahead yet because I'm so neck deep in college basketball. I'm not sure, but I'm with you. I can't believe he didn't get fired after that Browns game. But apparently it was the right move. But one thing I'm going to say, 2 trends that I'm interested to see on this game. I don't think I'm going to have a play on this game either. But last week, the public absolutely buried the books. What was it like? The favorites went like 12-2, something like that. Like over the last 2 weeks, NFL favorites have been absolutely crushing it, right? So you can tell that the books over-adjusted all their lines this week. They don't want people just blindly betting the favorites again this week. And those things tend to balance out, week to week. But also, underdogs have been killing it on Thursday nights. I think the underdog is like 6-2 against the spread the last 8 Thursday games. So these primetime games really have been a treasure trove for under better. We got a live home underdog tonight, and we have that pendulum swinging from the favorites last week, maybe to the underdogs this week. So some stars might be aligning for Miami.
Well, I think Miami is. For their fans, it's like you win last week and you get your hopes up again, and you're like, hey, maybe we're not as bad as we think. And then this week you get stomped. It would be like,
they backdoored the Chargers a couple weeks ago too. They almost won that game, even though they shouldn't have. Like I said, they only lost by 10 at home to Buffalo early on in the season. Like
it's crazy. Like you look at their talent and their record, and it really doesn't make sense because they're not the Titans bad. Like the Titans are historically bad. Literally, they should not have a win. The Saints, I think, are not that far off of that. I do think maybe their skill position isn't quite as good as you expect, but I do like some of the guys in the trenches there. So I think they're going to probably back into some wins late in the season. Not a ton, but I'm thinking.
I wrote my power rankings this week. I'm done with the Saints because that's what I thought. Like you look at them: Kamara, Olave, Shaheed, Juwan Johnson, some of the guys in the trenches, some of the guys in the secondary. I'm like, New Orleans has some players. They don't have a quarterback, don't trust their coach, not a great team, but they're like 5-12 bad, right?
Is the trade deadline this coming week?
It is, but for me, that's always overrated.
This might be a team that some of those guys get kind of moved for some pieces in the future. So this team might get worse. Maybe I'm wrong.
With the salary cap, it is so hard to make those in-season trades. It's kind of like the NBA where you got to make the salary match up. And these guys come in like it's so sophisticated, the offensive and defensive schemes, going from one scheme to another, like going from a zone blocking scheme to like an inside trap scheme, like the passing. You very rarely do you see NFL players get traded midseason and it have any impact. Everyone's like, oh, Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, that's like one time in the last.
And the year the Rams won it, they traded for what's his name, the pass rusher from Denver,
Von Miller.
That worked, but that's like just go get the quarterback.
But it's the same thing. Even if you go back and look what he did that year, he didn't do anything in the regular season. He just had a really good playoffs. Right, like he came alive in the playoffs.
But that's a little different because like a edge rusher, you don't have to play. First of all, you don't have to play every down. You can just play pass rushing down. You can just say go get the quarterback.
Right.
Like you're getting, like other players that are more, like harder to learn the systems during the season. But I do think like Kamara has come out and says he wants to stay with the Saints. I don't know why. A running back, you have this much life as a running back in the NFL. You have a chance to win. I would think you'd want an opportunity. And there's some teams out there.
Legacy, maybe, his family being there, maybe just doesn't want to move them. He's getting towards the end of his career.
I love Olave as a receiver too. I think there were some teams out there with needed some receivers. I think he's a better than average receiver that's just had nobody throwing him the ball for 3 years now, 2 years plus. Like I think he can.
Again, though, like for me, all this stuff about the NFL, I look at it the same way I do other things. Like teams that sell off pieces, I'm going to look to bet against because you're basically telling your team we're giving up on the season.
Yeah,
but in terms of a guy getting moved to another team and having this massive impact, it just doesn't happen. Like same thing. Like even if Chris Olave goes to the Bills or something like that, like he's not going to revitalize their passing game. Like you just don't see that. If an offensive lineman gets traded, like if the Chargers go out and get a right tackle or something like that, like it still takes time to gel with the other offensive linemen. You know what I mean? Like it's not like other sports like baseball or basketball where you can drop another piece in and all of a sudden it kind of transforms your unit. Like it just doesn't happen in the NFL. So, people are kind of overestimating what the trade deadline is going to be.
I think this year, there's the younger. We're starting to see kind of it's kind of the NBA type thing where we got younger GMs that have these different mindsets. There used to just not be a lot of trades that are like the go for broke approach or go broke approach. That's kind of like the NBA. Like, you either want to be good or bad. You don't want to be in the middle in the NBA because you get out of the lottery, and it's like you're in the lottery. You might end up with Cooper Flag out of Dallas. So it's like, I think the NFL is starting to, like, we've seen that the last few years where you see a lot more trades. I think we'll continue to see that. Will it have an impact? It hasn't in years past, but I think each year it gets more. Maybe we'll see it. We saw it with the Rams, like I said, in that Super Bowl. I don't think they win that Super Bowl. I think my Bengals probably win that. They might not even got to the Super Bowl without Von Miller. He really had a good playoff. So we'll see what happens. I kind of hope for my Bengals that I'm glad they lost last week because I'd like them to trade Trey Hendrickson because he's unhappy. Obviously, the whole contract thing was a problem already. Now you let him go be himself and go get a big payday probably, and then you get some pieces because you're not one guy away on defense. You're like 6 guys away on defense if you're the Bengals. So.
Explain that line to me, by the way. Why are the Bears favored on the road in that game? I don't fully. The Bears are dealing with a lot of injuries themselves too. I'm not sure if you've read up on any of that, but they had a lot of guys sit out practice yesterday.
This is about the Bengals defense, though. And you lose to the Jets the next week, you're going to have the overreaction too. Yeah. Like, I mean, the Bengals offense continued to play well for the 3rd straight week, but I mean, the bet has been since Joe Burrow went down, if you play the other team total, I think it's won in every game but one. Like, they're just, their defense is just terrible. And you're asking Joe Flacco to basically score 35 points to win games. That's probably not happening every week. Like, and at this rate, I think Joe Burrow is going to be out another 7 weeks, so 6.5, maybe 6, but most likely 7 games. It's over. Like, then you don't play him because, what are you?
You're right. He'll probably come back just because that's what type of guy he is, but they're going to be out.
But I don't think it'll be in 7 weeks. It'll probably be like a couple weeks left. To me, the Bengals need to, like, if you don't win the next couple of weeks, this week, you probably sell off as much as you can. It's a problem. All right, NBA. Let's talk NBA. This Warriors team, I've always been a Warriors fan, so I try to, I just think this team is, if they can stay healthy, and you can say the same thing about the Bucks they're playing tonight. If Giannis stays healthy, I think they can do some stuff. But it's like, they're going to have pretty high usage rates for both. Maybe not as high for the Warriors. Giannis is going to have a high usage rate because you look at what's behind him. When he goes out, they're just going to really struggle. I think that's going to be the difference tonight. I like the Warriors minus the points. What do you think?
I hate betting against Milwaukee when on their home turf. I don't do it them as a home dog. I'm with you. What was it? Like, didn't Golden State, their one loss was at Portland, right? Like,
and a back-to-back.
Not necessarily the same team when they're playing on the road. This would be their 3rd game in 4 nights, like you mentioned, old legs. Milwaukee maybe with a little bit of mojo after beating the Knicks. I feel like if they can beat the Knicks, they can beat the Warriors. I just didn't see the value. Gun to my head, sure, I'll take the Warriors because I think that they're the better, more complete team. But as you mentioned, we're still in that kind of honeymoon period of this season. Everybody's feeling pretty fresh. Everybody's feeling pretty good. So everyone should have their legs underneath them. Warriors, I suppose, but it was a no play for me. Like I said,
I think what were the Warriors last year? I think they started like 8-2. Remember all the press, and then once again, Steph Curry got dinged up, and if they can keep him healthy, I mean, for 37 years old, he might be better now than some of those MVP seasons. I mean, he is just. I didn't think he could get better shooting. You know what I mean? I just didn't think it was possible in his prime, but he's just a better player now. And I don't know how that's possible. It's kind of like the LeBron when he was in this age, when he was 35, 36, 37, 38. You're like, how's this dude getting better? Like,
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. We've seen it now the last few years. It has fallen off a little bit more because I think effort. He doesn't like to play defense at all. But this Warriors team is something special if they can stay healthy. I do think Oklahoma City Thunder, I mean, they basically play with their food the entire game, and then they put their mind to it, and then they pull away late. They've won 2 games by double overtime.
Banged up.
What's his name's out, right? Jalen Williams is out with his hand for about a month, I think, more. So he's going to be out for a little while. But they are super deep, deepest team in the league by far.
Yes, but I've talked about it in all these sports all year on these videos. Championship teams do not have the same level of urgency when they come back the next season. In the regular season, we're going to see that with Oklahoma City all season long. They're like at the end of the regular season, they will be well below 500 against the spread this year. So,
Sam Presti has done a great job building this team. But they did it through the draft, which was smart because you do it through the draft, then the salary cap doesn't. Well, then you win. Everybody gets paid. You look what they're going to be paying some heavy tax dollars. I kind of wonder if Sam Presti doesn't kind of do what he did when he started to trade, some pieces away of when he had the big three, because you just can't do it. You cannot pay 3-4 guys and continue to keep that depth they have. Those guys will get picked off elsewhere. So, I don't know who it would be, but
Chet Holmgren would be the first one to go. Somebody in the comments mentioned about the Spurs over. I am very curious if Miami is going to continue to score at the rate that they have been.
You imagine Spoelstra? You imagine Spoelstra? I was like, you imagine he's like, hey, guys, we're going to run and gun. People are like, dude, are you joking? Is this freaking April Fool's or something? I don't understand. I thought it was an aberration against Memphis. It has not been. This is their new way they're going to play.
He's amazing. He really is an amazing coach. I did not think that when he was younger, but he's kind of proven it. They've scored over 140 points in 2 of their last 3. The Spurs are basically a very young team. They'll run. You're going to be able to bait them into an up and down game. So I agree with you. Until the sports books make some adjustment, I think it's like the Lakers have gone over in all 5 of their game. You're just seeing overs left and right. Yeah, I think that it's almost blind overplays until we see an over adjustment by some of these books.
Which makes sense. You look at Miami's roster, it's not like they're huge. They're not pounding teams inside. So if you can get out and use these guys' athleticism in the open court, and the Spurs, you definitely aren't pounding it on the Spurs. So I definitely think they're going to need to push it. I said week 1 or day 2, I guess it was, the Spurs. I think played on the second day this year. Me and IC were covering, we cover all those games, and we were talking about it. And I said, if this Spurs young group just says, we remember we have this big guy in the Wimbiana that if we throw him the ball, he's pretty much unstoppable. There's no one else. There's no one that can really match up with him. It's kind of like Yao Ming back when he was out. Dude's just so much bigger than everybody else.
Somebody texted me today, through his first 120 games, Victor Wembanyama has scored more points than LeBron James did in his first 120 games. He's hit more 3-pointers than Steph Curry did in his first 120 games. He has more rebounds than I think Karl Malone did or maybe Shaquille O'Neal did in his first 120 games. And there was one other stat. It was pretty unbelievable. Now, again, he spread those 120 games out over 3 years. Right. So let's factor in, can he stay healthy and continue that trajectory? But let's also be careful about the Spurs. I know that they're off to a 4-0 start, 4-0 against the spread. Beat the Nets. The Pelicans, Toronto kind of sucks, a little worse than we are. That Brandon Ingram, just a loser. They beat Dallas badly in that opening night game.
The opening game was the only one that I thought you could be because we thought at the time Dallas was going to be.
I didn't. Yeah, no. I was on the Spurs in that game.
I like the Spurs. I just thought Dallas could at least stay about 500 without Kyrie. At this rate, I don't know if that's, unless they make a move, I don't know if that's possible.
I just don't see it. Again, they built everything for Luka and Kyrie, and now you add Cooper Flagg. Okay, he's a rookie, and you take away Luka and Kyrie Irving. The pieces 100%. Just don't fit.
They have the best backcourt in the league. Unfortunately, this is not a backcourt league anymore.
They can't defend. They can't defend.
They have to have guards.
Their guards cannot defend at all.
Well, I thought they were going to try to play a big 4, like Anthony Davis at the 3 or at the 4, pretty much exclusively. He can't guard 2 and 3 guys on the switches anymore. He's just at the point of his career, and they don't have great guard play. So, when Kyrie went down, last year, it really they added Russell, which, not a terrible player, 6-man, 7-man type guy. He ain't a defender. I'm gonna tell you that much.
I gotta tell you, I am just shocked that Anthony Davis is hurt. I can't believe that. The guy's been just an Iron Man throughout his career. I can't believe that Anthony Davis is already banged up early in the season.
I feel bad for Dallas in a way because. You have Luka, generational talent. There's no argument there. And then he's not the greatest. I don't know if he's going to have to develop into a winner. Even though he got him to the final, I just think playing that style he does. I just think it's tough. I think it's much easier to win when you play Steph Curry style when you're getting all your teammates involved. So when you score 35, they're moving and cutting too. They're getting layups because of you. Luka, you basically say, go stand in the corner. I'm going to go handle the ball for the entire clock. And if I throw it to you, you're going to have to shoot it with a guy in your face at the end of the clock.
Shockingly, they've moved the ball better and won more without him. We shocker. You know what I mean? He's not a good basketball player. I will say that.
I think he's a great basketball player. He just got to learn how to play. It's almost James Harden. James Harden, when he was at Houston, was the MVP. He was unbelievable. He never won anything that mattered because you cannot win one on everything.
Correct.
Like, it's just impossible.
Again, I said it for days. Again, that Toronto team that's underachieving a little bit. Like Brandon Ingram is kind of the same way. Like he's not nearly as talented, but that's another guy who's only effective if he has the ball in his hand. He doesn't play any defense. I looked at his plus minus so far because he was the big get, right? Like that was part of the big pivot for Toronto. He has had the worst plus minus or the second worst plus minus for the Raptors in every single game this year. Basically saying like we are worse when this guy is on the floor. But you know what? He's going to end up averaging 21 points and 8 rebounds.
I was wrong about them.
I thought people are going to be like, oh, Brandon Ingram. Like, no, these guys are losers.
But I didn't think they would win a ton of games, Toronto and New Orleans, but I thought they'd be pretty good against the spread because I thought they'd be getting, like last night, they were getting 6
tons of points. Yep.
And I'm like, dude, they'll be able to cover, especially Toronto. Very tough place to play. No one really likes. It has not been the case so far. Now it's early, so we could be overreacting, but I've basically moved off of it real quick because you can get buried. But I'm like, I'm going to watch these teams play for a little while, and then if my theory that was early turns out to be right, then we get back on them. But New Orleans, and which they basically traded these players, so it's kind of funny that New Orleans and Toronto still bad. Still bad against the spread. They don't play any defense. It's hard to win and cover, even getting points if you allow 130, 140 points a game. I do think Houston was better. I thought Houston would actually be worse.
I did too.
Houston's look good. They're huge. I mean, their average guy is like 6'10" in their starting lineup. The Van Fleet injury, I know people I actually think helped him because he was the only small guy they had, so you couldn't switch everything. Now you could switch everything. Every screen you can switch if you want. And that makes it much harder to run pick and rolls if you can do that and defend out of it. So,
somebody mentioned also in the comment section about Orlando. Can they make a shot? I do feel like this is a good spot for them to get a win because Charlotte doesn't play any defense. If you can't score points again, if you can't break 125 against Charlotte, then there are fundamental problems here with Orlando. They're just not making shots, but 0-5 against the spread, not the start that people had for the Magic. This is why it's important to get on these teams like a year early rather than a year late. And I got to tell you, Philadelphia, they've been a go-to team for me early on in this season. I love everything that I see out of the 76ers, still getting a lot of value. I think they're going to cause problems when they face those Western Conference teams too. I think we're going to find nice underdog value on the 76ers. Now that they've kind of gotten off that Ferris wheel of Joel Embiid, is he healthy? Is he not? Is he MVP? Is he not? He's out of the picture. It's almost like he's bonus for them. Yeah, it's Maxey. It's guard play.
Maxey's first team NBA this year.
He's averaging like 37 points a game.
And to be honest, when he was healthy last year,
he was awesome. Right. That's what I mean. So now you have a complete team that can win games in spite of Joel Embiid. If you can put him in there and get 25, 30 minutes of Joel Embiid action per game, now you really might have something.
I wonder if he'll be happy with that role. I kind of wonder if he might force a trade if they're like, hey, Maxey's our guy. And I don't know what you get from him, but you could get out from under that salary.
But again, he's another one. He's another one I would never want on my team because got to have the ball in his hand. Like you want to go someplace and star and get the ball and get all the shots and play 40 minutes a game. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt in 15 games. So if he wants to force that trade and force the issue because he's not happy with his role, it just confirms exactly what I'm saying about him. He's not a serious basketball player. You know what I mean?
And I think that's true. He didn't win at Kansas, remember? He was injured at Kansas. This has been his whole he's a talent-wise, if healthy, top 5 player in the NBA, no doubt, because there's no big guys anymore. So who's guarding him?
Right.
If he wants. But unfortunately, he can't guard anybody because he's always injured. And he doesn't play. So it's like, how do you get anything out of him when he doesn't play? I mean, he's had 3 knee procedures in 3 years. So it's like
you can't build around him. So it's like, hey, we built a team independent of you. Come in, give us what you can for 25, 30 minutes. We'll run the offense through you. But the rest of the time, like, you're a bit player.
The East is wide open. Cleveland's banged up. The Knicks, I still don't. Mike Brown, I don't think Mike Brown's the answer. He's never been a great coach.
Right.
He's a great guy, I don't think a great coach. Milwaukee still, I think, has issues. They're just not very deep. Giannis is going to have to basically triple double all season long. That's all, at his age. I think asking too much. Who else am I missing? Like, Boston, I don't trust Orlando. I don't trust Detroit. Boston is like, I mean, they had to get under the apron, so they trade two of their three. Poor Porzingis.
Atlanta was a team that I thought was going to be a little bit
Young's banged up now.
Good. He's another one. Get him out of there. Watch Atlanta play better over the next 2 weeks. Hopefully, Trae Young is out for 2 weeks. Get him out of there.
That's why I kind of thought Orlando and Detroit. I thought these two teams, one, they were healthy. And I'm like, dude, this is the time where young teams can start to take over these teams that are banged up. Cleveland, I guess, would be the one because Garland isn't, of all the starters, if you had to miss one, that would probably be the one. I think for what he makes, he's just like, and he doesn't defend anybody. Like, I think Cleveland can maybe sustain. But after that, everybody has questions at the top, especially with Tatum out. I mean, like the Boston team, if Tatum's there, they're still the best team in the East. They're just, unfortunately, he's going to miss the entire season. So.
I was selling Knicks stock coming into this season. I actually like what I've seen from them in spite of
Did you see the second half against Milwaukee? They scored 40 points. They scored 71 in the first half and 40 in the second half.
I mean, they
just shoot too many.
You're not going to score 71 and too many.
No, but what's the Obinami or whatever? That dude, if he shoots another three, I would be like, drive to the hoop. You're unbelievable defensive and he shot like 7 threes. Like too many.
He should never shoot.
It's like Hart. Don't shoot. If you do, drive to the hoop. These two guys are great defenders. Like, they're winners. Just got to say, don't shoot the three. I know that's the backwards of the NBA, but when you're shooting 28, 29%,
don't shoot.
Yeah. Like, you have great, like, the Knicks have a ton of talent. Now, McBride wasn't there. He was out with family issues. And I think that's a big thing. McBride has he's their fourth best player on the Knicks. Like, or maybe fifth, but he's like right there.
Josh Hart has not played well. Mikal Bridges is putting up numbers, but has he really been?
Karl-Anthony Towns is banged up. I think
a little less Jordan Clarkson for my, like, the less Jordan Clarkson, the better. I want to see a little more Tyler Kolek, to be completely honest with you. I kind of like what he
played a little in the second half. The problem is when you get down and it's like, the Knicks are going to try to not wear these guys out like they did last year. I mean, Tom Thibodeau, it's good and the bad. That dude rides his horses more than any. If he was riding in the Breeders' Cup, he would try to race him in he would put his horse in every race. Like, dude, I think we can win every race.
Right.
Like, you don't need to play your players. Like, you have to. It's a long season. I don't believe Michael Jordan. The thing, I'm sure you caught it about. He basically said this whole resting guys is an absolute joke, and there's no proof that it actually keeps guys healthier throughout the season because now guys miss more games than ever. So if the case was you could rest guys and they don't get
there might be something to that, to be completely honest.
But there's also a thing that you don't have to play the guys 40 minutes a game, like the Tom Thibodeau way.
Yes, I agree with that. Play every game, but not just 40 minutes.
And it's not a lot. It's like an extra minute and a half rest per quarter is all you really need. And if you don't have that depth, you're not winning a championship. We saw the Thunder. Like, the Thunder would not have won. I mean, they had to go to 7 games. They had the much deeper team. That was the difference in every series they played. Yes, SGA was the best player in the playoffs, without a doubt. But he wouldn't have won without these other guys. Like every game there was somebody and the Knicks need to find that. They need to find where they can find that depth. I don't know. Like Bridges, I've just never been a huge Bridges guy. I don't know about you.
No, he's just a numbers guy.
I thought DiVincenzo or whatever that guy's name was
was a much better basketball player.
And they had to give up 1 million players to get Bridges and pay him more. So it was like that was kind of like a vanity trade. Like, hey, we're going to go get Mikal Bridges and give up all these draft picks and all these players. When it was like basically DiVincenzo was that.
Does he make your team that much better? No. Is he a realistic go-to option in the last 30 seconds of a game? No. So,
and then you get Towns that's basically that same type player, like puts up numbers, but are you going to throw him the ball to win the game? I'm sure not.
Not
but they already have the best clutch guy in basketball. So it's like you don't need that. All you need is really good players around them in depth. And
yeah, I mean, they're looking like the tallest midget right now in the East. They have flaws. They're not a great team, but I think
imagine if they're in the West. They might be the 7th best team in the West.
I'm still kicking myself for not taking Denver last night. I love Denver right now. I love the Nuggets. I can't bet enough.
They got addition by subtraction. When they traded Michael Porter Jr., he just was like, he's not the guy, even though it felt like he would be the right guy because you need shooting around Joker, and he passes the ball so well. He doesn't move well without the basketball, though.
Right.
Like he's just basically a spot up shooter. That's not the kind of player you need. He's so good. If you cut, you're going to get layups. That's why Gordon has been an absolute perfect fit with Joker. Like those guys are like, all he has to do is he's going to go spot up for 3. All of a sudden you come out, he's backdoor and alley-oop dunk. So, I mean, I think Denver
play your role.
Denver's the 4th best team, right? They're the 4th best team in the league, I think, right now.
I think they're the 2nd best team in the league.
Really?
Yes. There's nobody else in the West that's beating them in a 7-game series. Remember, they almost beat Oklahoma City last year. Like, I know Indiana pushed them, but I thought Denver had a better chance, and they were really banged up then. Like, with the Joker and with Murray at 100%, which he really hasn't been for either of the last 2 seasons, like, that's it. Aaron Gordon's a 3rd all-star type caliber guy. And then you have all these other players that are just knowing their role.
They basically have like 5 of the same players.
Yes.
Like Watson and Braun and all. They're literally just like 3D guys.
They shoot, they defend, they cut to the basket, they share the ball. Because that's the thing about the Joker. Like the Joker compared to Joel Embiid, they're both going to be Hall of Fame players, right? It is not even close. It is not like Joel Embiid is not even in the same stratosphere of a player as Nikola Jokic because he makes everyone around him better. As I was talking about last week with Luka, you can drop Jokic on any team anywhere. You could put him on Charlotte right now, and Charlotte would all of a sudden like threaten to be a 500 team, right? Like they might not get there, but he's that good just because he will.
In the East, they would be.
Right. That's what I mean. He would have that team playing basketball together versus some of these other ball hog idiots that.
There's probably like 3 players in the league that can win not scoring. Like I'd say Wemby's in that same conversation with him. Trying to think. Maybe only 2. Maybe it's just those 2 that it's like you put them on a team and say they get 0 points, their team could still win because if you don't double them, they're going to score. So you either pick your poison on those 2 guys, and they're great rebounders. The one thing I would say, Wemby's a much better defender, obviously, but I think Joker is a better than what he was, or like people still remember what he was 5 years ago as a defender. He's sneaky good now. Where the new drop defense kind of saved him.
He's
like
the best.
The drop defense allowed that. Like if he has to switch out on guys, it's over. Like the guy's not guarding Steph Curry, and he'll put him on skates. But now you play that drop defense, and they're fighting over the top more. It makes guys that don't move their feet as well better defenders around the hoop. So
I mean, who would you take in the West over? Like don't say Houston. No way, Houston. Like
I'm not going to make any judgment on Houston until like 2 weeks because it looks good so far. That's you see this, you see it. Oklahoma City, obviously number 1. I still think Golden State's number 2. I think they're the best team. I guess they would be the 3rd best team in the. I would probably put them 3rd, and it's close. Like Denver and I think the Warriors are. It's the same thing. If Steph Curry stays healthy, if Joker stays healthy, if Murray stays healthy, these teams are going to be
series. What a series that would be, right? If everybody was healthy and in form, Golden State against.
I mean, if the Warriors only lost the playoffs last year because Steph went out after they won Game 1. So like if he doesn't do that, I think Minnesota's still like the jury's still out there. Like I don't like that they just basically ran it back. You know what I mean? Like because I thought last year they just weren't good enough. We knew they weren't going to beat. They probably shouldn't have beat the Warriors, but they weren't going to beat Oklahoma City no matter if they played 1,000,000 games. Like
no, but I didn't think that was as bad of a matchup. I think the whole thing
still need a point guard.
But the whole thing was Anthony Edwards last year was a top 5 player, top 8 player in the NBA. Was he going to come in and be a top 3 player or a top 2 player? Like there's still room for him to grow, and that's what they're waiting for. Is he going to become the best player in the NBA? And if he has one of those seasons,
I just don't see him then.
Unquestionably the best player.
I think he's a every year top 10 player. I just don't think he's got that thing that we've seen the LeBrons and the Stephs and now SGA have, or even the Durants. Like I don't know what it is. I think partly he's not the greatest shooter. Like, and now we live and you take so many threes. It's his weakness. It's like, go to the hoop. You are Michael Jordan-esque early in his career where no one can stop you, especially now you can't touch him.
Go to the basket, right.
Go to the basket, but he shoots way too many threes. And then when he's not hitting, it's like you're letting him. It's kind of like LeBron early in his career where they'd make him go left and pull up jumpers. That was his weakness. Once he realized, dude, I don't even need to. Why am I pulling up? I can go. I'm 6'8", 270. I can go past any guy. And he just goes home. That's what he needs to do.
I agree with you. He needs another very well-rounded offensive player that he can kind of play off. They're so defensive focused. They're so athleticism. They just surrounded him with athleticism and defenders.
He needs a point guard. Conley is
needs a creative. Mike Conley should not be
8 years ago. Mike Conley would have been perfect for this team.
Right.
He's
exactly. He's like 52 years.
FYI, him and Greg Oden were in the same draft class. They played at Ohio State. He's still in the league.
Right.
Like that tells you, like, to me, I think that's the problem is like they need a point guard. Alexander left, right? Like I think he was the one guy that left. And he actually that's SGA's cousin, right? So he actually had a really good playoffs. But they need a real point guard that can make shots and take some pressure off him. They just don't have that. Yeah. And that's not easy to find during the season. So I don't think
they need someone creative that can initiate the offense. And
Julie Randle's unfortunately, Julie Randle's they're like the only other guy that they basically can say do that to. And we all know it.
Yeah, he's good at initiating his own offense. Yeah. What I'm saying is they need to your point, they need a point guard or a point forward type of player that can pass, shoot, can defer, that doesn't need the ball in their hand, that doesn't need to be a scorer. They don't need a second scorer. That's not what they need. He just needs a creative offensive player around him that can free him up in different spots rather than him just taking the ball at the top of the key and putting his head down and going downhill and getting it.
Especially when you have Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, you basically have a guy that unless he's dunking the ball, he's non-offense. I like him a lot better when they play Naz Reid at the 5. I just think because then you have to guard him pretty much because he can score. Like he's not the defender, I get it, but it's like defense is not a problem with them. It's can they consistently score enough to stay up with the West? If this team was in the East, they'd be the best team in the East, by the way.
Easily. But not for nothing. This is another trend that we see happen a lot in a lot of different sports. Teams that make it to the conference championship game and lose that next season have a hard time. They tend to get overvalued. They tend to get overrated. They tend to struggle a little bit. And I think that is kind of Minnesota's fate for this year. They're another team. At the end of 82 games, they will be below 500 against the spread because the reality of what we saw with them at the end of last season does not transfer and translate into this season. And it's just a little harder slog for them.
And I always say, if you are an aging team, you should be adding in the offseason. If you're a young team, you could run it back and you expect the growth of that year to basically be like adding a player. They're an aging team, like other than Ant, like who else is young and like still getting better? Everybody else is probably kind of towards, you expect kind of a regression potentially. Obviously guys stay better longer now. I get that, but it's like, you just don't expect Randall and all these guys to stay healthy and to put up the numbers they did last year, probably. Maybe at the trade deadline, maybe even before they can add somebody that could matter. I just think in the West, they're going to really struggle. You might not even get a 500 team because last year they weren't that much over. Like, remember last year, it was 4 games that separated the 4th spot to play-in game. 4. Like, that is not a big margin for error.
Listen, I got to tell you, we've been ragging on the East, but the more I look at these Western Conference standings too, there's a lot of meh. Utah, they've won a couple more games than we thought they were going to win this month. Great call by you with Lauri Markkanen yesterday, by the way, on the over. Portland is not a very good team. Phoenix might end up being the worst
They might be the worst team
in the West. Sacramento is not very good. Dallas, New Orleans. What's Memphis going to be long term? Like, are we crowning San Antonio too early? What are the Clippers? Like, what are the Clippers going to be at the,
Yeah, but you don't want to play the Clippers. Like like, yes, they're I don't know what we're going to get from them, but you don't want to play them in a one game. Like, like, oh, fuck, we got the Clippers on a back-to-back. They got 8 guys. Well, like 3 guys that are basically, or 2 for sure, Hall of Famers, first ballot Hall of Famers. And it's like on a night, you can expect James Harden to go off. Like he had 23? He had 23 and 2.
Y. It's Wednesday night down at the Y with the old men. You know what I mean? Like they're either going to win by 20 or they're going to lose by 20, and they could win. They could beat or lose to anyone by 20. Like they proved that on opening night when they got.
I think the best thing that could happen is if Kawhi or Harden retires, because financially, you look at their salary cap issues, they can't be good until one of them leave. The best thing that ever happened was Paul George leaving for them, to be honest. They'd had 3 guys that are untradeable and way overpaid. So, but now you have both of those guys are not as good as what they're making. Like just facts.
But with their top 10, with the top 10 guys that they have, even though they're old, like this team should be a factor in the West. Like they're not good enough to win a championship or anything like that. But like they got a lot of dudes that.
Would you rather the Lakers though? And I hate the Lakers. Would you rather the Lakers or the Clippers?
For this year?
Yeah.
For this year, not long-term building or anything like that. Oh, 1,000% the Clippers.
Really? I'd take the Lakers.
1,000%. No way. I don't ever want Luka Doncic on my team ever. And
he's
like,
just in his prime though. Like every guy. I'm trying to think what guy on the Clippers wouldn't be past his prime. I don't think there's one guy.
I mean, no.
And it's just tough. It's tough to win consistently without like having one guy that you're like, dude, I'm
Zubac, Lopez.
He's probably their best player, by the way. No one else. Zubac is a beast.
Paul, Bogey, Harden, Kawhi. You got 9 guys. You don't need one guy to carry the load. You got 9.
Did you watch the Warriors game though? The Warriors just completely strangled them in the third quarter. Like they could not score. And the Warriors are a good. People get confused because they score a lot and their games go over. It's because they have Steph Curry and they have all the shooting and they play at a fast pace. But per possession, their defense is consistently pretty good. They stay in front of you and make you work. The Clippers had no answer. Like it was like they were playing 80s basketball, trying to like back guys in. Mm-hmm. And like that's not the way you win in the NBA now. Guys are too big, too athletic, too strong. Like as good as Kawhi is, as strong as he is, he's not at the point in his career he's just playing one-on-one basketball anymore. And I think that's a problem for them. I think that the West will be won by the top 3 or 4 teams that we've talked about: Denver, Golden State, Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, 100%.
I'm going to put Houston in there just because I think that's the great unknown. They could be that 4th team. They could not. Maybe it's the Spurs. I think it's one of those Texas, one of those 2. I'm not going to 2 of the 3 Texas teams. Dallas, until they get Kyrie back, I just think are it's just not going to work. And I'm not going to.
It's on Ty Lue. It's on Ty Lue. There are a lot of new pieces. They are going to look different in January than they do in October. Like these guys are veterans. I think they'll figure out how to play better together. But again, they're just going to be a really tough team to bet on or against because, like I said, they can lose by 20 or they can win by 20.
I'd rather have Utah right now, to be very honest, than the Clippers night in, night out as far as betting, because the Utah Jazz move the ball and they have guys that are athletic and are fun to watch and fun to play with. Like they play exciting basketball, which is contagious when you're scoring. And Luka Markin, I just wish he's playing at a bigger market because the dude
he's legit.
Yep. Like when they couldn't make the trade to Golden State beginning of last year, like I was like, dude, if he goes to Golden State,
oh my God, forget about it. Yep.
Dude, where you cannot ever double team him, he'll be Hall of Famer, like almost guaranteed just by playing with Steph Curry. Unfortunately, it worked out for the Warriors because they ended up getting Jimmy Butler, and I think it changed them probably even.
I still rather have Markkanen right now.
Long term, I would, but I think this year, like I think if they win, it's going to be because that the Jimmy Butler trade worked. I mean, that dude, I forgot how good he was because at Miami he kind of got whatever the case. You can blame whoever you want if it was them or him, but whatever it was, he lost his passion, dude.
Took him to the finals. He dragged a team of nobodies to the finals.
That dude is a dog. Yeah. Dog.
All right, we got to get out of here. We got football to do, dude. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Eastern time.
$99 football passes. I actually have a 15% off promo code that will work. I believe for everybody, it's NBA 15, I believe, and that'll be good on everything. So make sure you check that out. Of course, if you have any problems, people always like send us like notes which is we try to answer like in the stuff in the comments even after. But if you have a problem, service@docsports.com will always take care of. Like, so if you buy picks and you don't get them, or if you get some weird error or something, just send them an email, or you can even call. There's a phone number there as well, and they will take care of you and get a much quicker answer than putting in the comments and getting it like 10 hours later after the game starts. So, all right, Robert, thanks again for talking. We love it. See you tomorrow. Everyone, have all your bets are winning ones, and good luck.